Does your work energize you? Does it make your impact on the world? Welcome to Start Anew, the show that looks beyond success into freedom, fulfillment, and your passion-driven career. Join your host, Sumbul Sang, for inspiring stories and bite-sized training to help you start anew with clarity. And now, here is Sumbul.
Now let's shift gears now and begin part 2 of our interview. How do you feel about putting your coaching hat on and coaching the starters community on how to launch their life with confidence?
Good, I found my hat just earlier, so I've got it on and I'm ready to go.
Fantastic. So my first question to you is on behalf of those who feel like they want more from their lives, but they don't know what that more looks like. Can you tell them one exercise that they can do on their own to help them with this process of self-discovery?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few little tools and exercises that you can go through to do it. But the first thing you need to do is to have absolute clarity around what it is that you want to do and where you want to go and what your life looks like. You need to have that end point in sight. You need to know what your point B is. If you understand what point B is, then it's just a matter of just bridging the gap and understanding how you're actually going to get there. And I think the best exercise that I could suggest to do that is to find your sweet spot. And you may have heard this concept before. It's relatively common. It was first made broad by Jim Collins in his book Good to Great, and he called it the hedgehog concept. Basically, it's all about finding the intersection between what you're passionate about, what you're skilled at doing, and what you can actually derive an income from doing. And if you can work out something that kind of combines all of those different elements, then you've found your sweet spot. And it's super important that you have all three of those elements, because otherwise you're not going to be able to sustain what you're doing, and you're not going to be fully motivated. So, for example, if you're passionate about doing and you've got the skill to do it, but you can't actually derive an income from it, well, it's pretty much just going to be a hobby for you. So, and you need to be able to derive the income to be able to sustain it and to be able to grow it and be able to make it more of your life. And that's what you want to do. You want to make it more of your life. So you need to make sure that you are actually deriving the income from it and be comfortable that you can actually derive an income from it. Or you might actually have the skill to do it and you can get the income from it, but you may not be passionate about it. And if that's the case, well, then you're pretty much working a job, because you're not going to be passionate about it. You've got the skill to do it, getting an income, but that's about it. It's a bit of a job. Or you may be passionate about it and you can derive an income from it, but you don't have the skill. And if that's the case, then obviously it's a dream that you want to do, that you want to get to. And that's actually not a bad place to be in, because you can actually learn a skill. So if you're passionate about it and you can actually derive an income from it, then you just need to learn how to bridge that gap. But if you've already got the skill, and if you're passionate about it and you can find a way to derive an income, then that's your sweet spot. And that's what you need to do. That's what you need to focus on to be able to move forward. And that will be your point B, and have that absolute clarity around where it is that you want to get to.
There is a diagram you share to illustrate what the sweet spot is in your program, Launch Your Life Academy, that I'm a part of. Do you mind if I share that diagram with our listeners on the show notes for this page?
That is perfectly fine. I think it's an awesome exercise, and I know it will provide immense value to your listeners.
Yeah, I personally found this exercise very useful as well. And I learned for myself that for most of my career, I was doing stuff that was making money, but I was not passionate about it. And it's not a bad place to start your career fresh out of college, because at least, you will make money, and that money will make possible other things in life. But then there comes a point in your life when you just can't do it anymore.
Yes.
Starters, I highly recommend that you check out the show notes for this page and look at the illustration for sweet spot. Spend some time reflecting and figuring out your sweet spot.
Yes, and the other thing to add to the sweet spot as well is I haven't shared it in the Launch Your Life Academy, and I just spoke about the passion, the skill, and the income. But another circle that you could add to it, and it's something that I've thought about, and it's around what the world needs, and it's how to actually make a difference. Because sure, you can be passionate about something, you have the skill, you can drive an income, but I guess the fourth circle, and the thing that kind of underlines it all, is that you want to make sure that you're actually making a difference. Because otherwise, I mean, that's why we're all here on this planet, right? We're here to kind of contribute in some kind of way. We're here to evolve the world in some shape or form. So you just want to make sure that that it is making a difference. And normally, if you are deriving an income from it, where you're providing value in some sorts, you typically are making a difference in the lives of another person. But it's just important to just kind of think about that holistically as you're going through this exercise.
One of the tools that I've come across that's quite good for this is Ikigai. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I haven't.
Starters, if you haven't heard of this before, just Google Ikigai, Ikigai. Often, one of the things holding people back from taking control of their lives is lack of confidence. Give us the layman version of what is confidence, what instills it, and what can our listeners do to develop the confidence to start anew, the confidence to launch their life?
Yes, love it. Confidence is just being authentically who you are. That's the way that I would say it in layman's terms, and just being able to freely express it. And then if you can do that and you can freely express who you are, then that just exuberates confidence. Even if you're shy and that is truly who you are, you can be shy and confident at the same time. You don't have to be this outspoken, extroverted person to kind of showcase confidence. That's not what confidence is about. To be able to demonstrate confidence, first and foremost, you need to understand who you are.
Speaking of who we are and our values, in episode 12 and the article accompanying it, I talk about the importance of knowing our values. Now, continuing on that theme, Brendan, what do you think is the best way to get clarity on our core values? Is there an exercise that someone could do in 30 minutes on their own to get more clarity on what is important to them in life?
Yes, 100%. And I think it's so easy. And I don't think people, a lot of the time, I know when I'm coaching people think, oh man, doing this whole exercise of like finding out my values, that sounds like really complicated. Or, you know, I got to find out what I'm passionate about. Oh my God, that's like so complicated. It's like this whole secret thing. Like I need to go through the exact process to work out exactly what it's going to be. And if I don't do the exact process right, I'm not going to know. Well, it's really not, it's not like that. It's just, you just need to reflect. The way that I encourage people to think about their values is to simply just get a piece of paper and just to spend 5 or 10 minutes just writing down everything that's important to them. And when I'm saying everything, I'm talking about just one words, like words that represent your values. So things like energy, motivation, career, family, fun, environment, physical recreation, fitness, health, whatever it may be. Like, what are the things that truly motivate and drive you? And if you just take the time, 5-10 minutes, and just write out all these things on a piece of paper, what you then want to do, and you may end up with 20 or 30 words on a piece of paper, but you don't want to, you want to get down to what are the top 5, top 10 at max that are true to you and that really, really drive you and define who you are. 20 or 30 is just too many. You're not going to be able to represent all of those values. You want to really focus on the few values that really drive you. And so once you have that bigger list, you just need to simply just go through the list again, reading through it, and just get a sense for, as you're reading across every word, does it inspire you and does it energize you? And do you kind of feel some kind of passion elicit inside of you? And if you don't, just simply cross it off. And if you do, just give it a circle. Then you might get down to about 10 or 15 and again, go through that exercise. And then once you've got your top 10, what I encourage people to do is just simply read through them again in order and just get a real good sense of how you're feeling as you're reading through each of these different words. Just which ones are the ones that truly ignite something inside of you. And typically you will find that there are 2 or 3 words that really, really stand out for you. And that may be family. Family may be like the strongest value. If you just think of the word value, or think of the word family, and you're thinking of that particular value, then, and you get some kind of sense of passion or energy from within, well, then that's obviously a strong value for you. Or maybe fitness, or it may be health, whatever it may be. But it's just really kind of just being attuned to how you're feeling as you're reading those words. And it's as simple as that.
Once we know what our core values are, I mean, how do we go about making sure that we honor those values or live our lives according to those values?
Well, what you'd probably find is that once you actually have your list of 5 values in front of you, then what you'll probably find is that you may not be living those values currently. So the first question that you need to ask yourself is, how am I living these values in my day-to-day life? So am I speaking with my family on a day-to-day basis? Am I making a difference with my family on a day-to-day basis? Or if it's fitness, what am I doing with my health and fitness? Am I going for runs? Am I going to the gym? Am I conscious of how I'm breathing? Am I getting enough sleep? All of this kind of stuff. It's about just reflecting on how are you currently exhibiting those values, and then if they're not part of your daily life, how can you make them more of your daily life? And just simply asking those 2 questions.
Now, we've talked a fair bit about our values, process of self-discovery, being comfortable with our authentic self. I put them all under a framework that I called, understanding who we are.
Yes.
If we take a step further from there, so we know who we are, but we don't know what we want from our lives, what is the best way to begin that journey of discovering what is it that we want from our lives?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the sweet spot. Then you also want to think about why. So we've kind of spoken about the passion, you've got the skill, you've got the income, and it's about making a difference. But also what's a personal why behind it? Like what's a bigger why that you can think of? And maybe that is the making a difference piece. But also you want to think about a personal why in there as well. And that kind of starts the journey of getting absolute clarity around where you want to go to.
Brendan, thank you for joining us, inspiring us, and coaching us today. Before we wrap up, what is your parting piece of guidance to those starting anew in life? Share the best way we can connect with you online, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, my best piece of advice would just be to get started. Don't be afraid, and just jump on to whatever it is that you want to do, and just start taking action. Because I know that, look, a lot of people are afraid to jump on a bicycle because they're comparing themselves to people that have won the Tour de France already. And they're afraid to get on the bicycle because they think they're going to be falling off. But if you think you're going to fall off, well, then you're not going to get on the bicycle in the first place. But what you need to do is you need to jump on that bike and start actually riding the bike before you can actually start riding on the making it to the Tour de France. So that's like my little metaphor, I guess you could say, for just about taking action. Don't be afraid, and no need to compare yourself to people that are at their end game. Just compare yourself to your peers, and compare yourself to where you currently are in your life, and compare yourself to your own progression, and simply take action. It's all about just taking action and moving forward.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Start Anew Show. We invite you to be more than a passive listener. Be a starter. Join our community and snag exclusive freebies from Symbol and her guests at letstartanew.com. Create your vision of freedom and fulfillment right here on the Start Anew Show.